7,000 years before Christ, on an evening at the Braña cave in Spain. Around the flickering fire, a group of dark-skinned hunter-gatherers were sitting together. Suddenly, the firelight sparkled in the eyes of a young girl. She was the only one in the tribe with bright blue eyes standing out among dozens of pairs of brown eyes. Every gaze turned towards her in stunned silence. At that moment, no one knew that she was carrying a genetic secret that it would take humanity 9,000 years to decode. Most of us assume that our ancestors had a similar appearance to us, with light or dark skin depending on the geographical region, but eye color was definitely brown. However, the truth is completely different. Modern science has proven that all early prehistoric Homo sapiens had dark brown eyes due to a very thick amount of melanin pigment. However, just about 8,000 to 10,000 years ago, a tiny genetic change made countless different eye colors a reality. Our diverse eye colors today are not a given from the dawn of time, but the consequence of a historical mutation event that happened not too long ago. So exactly when and how did humans start having different eye colors? Why in the end, some of us possess green or blue eyes, while our ancient relatives almost exclusively had brown eyes? To find the answer to this mystery, we must go back dozens of centuries, returning to the very first moment when a bold mutation appeared in the human genome. But wait, before continuing this journey, if you find this topic interesting, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe to the Why So channel. This is completely free and serves as a massive motivation to help the video reach more people. Starting from Africa about 100,000 years ago, all ancient people had brown skin and brown eyes thanks to an abundant amount of melanin. When the first human groups left Africa to enter Europe and Eurasia, they carried this default genome. In the early stages, although the northern climate was very cold and lacked sunlight, brown eyes still held absolute dominance. The body and genetic code in the Old World did not change abruptly. But when humans settled long-term in freezing Europe, they faced the challenge of a lack of light to synthesize vitamin D. Right at this moment, the process of natural selection began to act, silently eliminating genes that were no longer truly necessary. And then, in one of the millions of early individuals living around the late Paleolithic or early Neolithic period, an evolutionary miracle occurred. A small mutation appeared in the regulatory gene region HERC2, located right next to the OCA2 gene. This mutation drastically reduced the ability to produce melanin in the iris. As a result, a person carrying 2 copies of this mutation would possess light-colored eyes like blue or green, instead of the original brown. The first individual to carry that mutated gene was probably a person with dark skin but possessing bright eyes. This person had children and migrated everywhere with their tribe. Their community, believed to originate from the Eastern Mediterranean or Western Balkans region, scattered across Europe, especially when the agricultural era exploded, helping the population soar. Because this is a recessive gene, meaning it takes 2 copies to manifest externally, initially these blue eyes were extremely rare. However, in low-light environments like Northern Europe, having less melanin in the eyes could help improve vision in dim light and support better vitamin D absorption. Besides that, people of that time might have been attracted to faces with unusual eyes, making this trait a major advantage in finding a mate. Over countless generations, the blue eye mutation spread strongly in the north, while southern residents around the Mediterranean region retained their original brown eyes to protect their vision from the glaring sun. Just a tiny mutation in a single individual spread and changed the face of an entire continent. Science does not rely on mere speculation. We have clear evidence from ancient DNA. When testing the genes of Cheddar Man, an individual who lived in England about 10,000 years ago, scientists discovered he carried this exact mutation and had a very high probability of possessing blue eyes. Similarly, the Braña 1 skeletal remains in Spain, dating back 7,000 years, also showed a surprising result. It was a dark-skinned man who carried bright blue eyes. Many other European remains from the Neolithic period also share this characteristic, proving that the blue eye gene has existed since very early on. The analysis results of hundreds of ancient human genomes also point out that the appearance of this mutation gradually increased from Western to Northern Europe. A typical example is the Villa Bruna hunter-gatherer group living 15,000 years ago, which had a rate of carrying the light eye gene up to more than 90%. A study published in 2021 firmly asserted that all people with blue eyes in the world today inherited a common gene block from a single ancestor living about 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. Today, in northern and western Europe, the rate of carrying the light eye gene can reach 60 to 80%, while in Asia or Africa, this number is almost zero. But the most surprising thing, the strangest twist, is that not everyone who carries this hereditary gene will definitely have blue eyes. The mutation in the HERC2 gene only explains the majority of the difference between blue and brown eyes. Meanwhile, green, gray, or hazel eyes are a complex symphony of many different genes. Furthermore, living environments and diets can also affect the final color of the iris. We still have to account for countless factors of natural selection and a series of other mysterious genetic codes to be able to create the diverse palette of eye colors we have today. From the compact story of an eye color regulating gene, we can see a grander picture of human evolution. In just about 10,000 years, equivalent to a blink of an eye on the evolutionary scale, billions of people have carried completely different eye colors, something that had never happened hundreds of thousands of years before. Human eye color is powerful evidence showing that a tiny genetic change can create enormous diversity while redrawing the migration map that connects all continents. It reminds us that physical traits that seem innate from the dawn of time, are actually the product of a very recent period in history. So to answer the central question, when did humanity begin to have different eye colors? The answer is only in the last few thousand years. A mutation about 6,000 to 10,000 years ago in Eastern Europe or the Mediterranean region allowed blue eyes to appear for the first time on Earth. Thanks to migrations and interbreeding, this gene spread and became popular. In short, the diversity of human eye color today originates from a single genetic variation that appeared relatively recently in human history. Just one small mutation has created the billions of multicolored eyes of today. Let us return to the Braña cave at the beginning of the story. The child with the brilliant blue eyes of the past has now become an elder. Those eyes are still as blue as the northern sky. There is no mysterious magic here at all. It is all just the miracle of genetic history. In the dark cave, the skeleton of that blue-eyed girl has now fallen into eternal sleep, but the story of her special gene segment is still living vividly through every glance of her descendants many generations later. Ultimately, eye color does not make anyone superior or more special. It simply proves that humans are never static. Our appearance is constantly changing along with the flow of history. How many other traits on your body, from your hair and skin to your height, are also just tiny traces of a distant past? We often take our eye color for granted, but it is silently telling a long story throughout evolutionary history. A tiny mutation in the past not only created a difference in appearance, but also reminds us that humanity always contains countless wonderful surprises. Please leave your thoughts in the comments section. Goodbye, and see you next time.